Welcome to Radio Boomers Live, the show about all things human from a baby boomer's perspective. All things hot and all things not. News, reviews, interviews, chat, tech, and what's next. And here are your hosts, Reatha Gray from Betty White's Off Their Rockers and Easy's dad, Jim Zuley.
Good morning, Radio Boomers Live listeners around the world, and to our EZWAY family, and to Reatha Gray, superstar Reatha. Are you on with us?
I am.
Yes, she is.
I was running. You know those scenes where they're running, trying to get there at the last minute? I got it there just like 20 seconds before air.
I can't believe you
but
said
I'm
that,
here.
Reatha. I can't believe you said that. I was doing the same thing, just checking for the time, and I turn around and I look at the clock and I go, holy smokes, I got 1 minute. But it's Memorial Day, and for sure, Memorial Day, and we want to say thank you to all the veterans. Well, you know, it's a time to give thanks for all the great sacrifice the veterans have made that had passed away during their service, and there will be a lot of events planned today. I have a couple World War II veterans that are going to events. One of them told me that they used to go in a group of 5 or 10, and they called around, and he's the only one there now. So if you're going to say hi to these people, they're just enduring.
Last year the events didn't take place, but I understand they will be putting the flags on the Westwood Veterans Cemetery this year, and that they will be having their ceremony there. And like you said, there are going to be events all over the country. So it's a time to look back and just, like you said, be thankful for those who are willing to defend our country.
Yeah, and things are opening up. I suppose you've noticed that in L.A. You could tell by the freeways.
You can tell by the side streets.
They're back. And
they're back, and they're out, and they're running around. And, people are still driving like it's no traffic. There's traffic out there, people. There are children riding bicycles and skateboards. Drive safe and sane.
Oh, yeah, and they, I don't know if you've been out to the restaurants, but, boy, people are, glad to get back and be able to, go to the restaurants, and they say they're in trouble with the cooks and the servers. They don't have enough people to keep things going. Well, that's a good thing, I guess. But
that's a whole nother story that we won't get into. But let's move on to our hot topic.
It's hot topic time.
Well, there
we go.
Ripped from the headlines. Today's hot topic.
Well, my hot topic is I just want to invite people to watch a special documentary called Blood on Black Wall Street. I'm going to have you look it up. I'm not going to tell you a whole lot about it. It's a part of American history that very few people know. It took place in Tulsa, Oklahoma 100 years ago, and it's not in the history books. It hasn't been spoken about. They did a survey, and over 80 people that lived in Tulsa had no idea that this event took place in their city. And this, for whatever year, the 100-year anniversary of the event is being publicized. It's being talked about, and there's a documentary. So you can Google Blood on Black Wall Street. It's a heartbreaking story, but it's also a story that shows that there have been great progress in Black history that we don't even know about. And this is a time to look back on it. And I'm not going to tell you anymore because I want you to watch it. It's called Blood on Black Wall Street. I believe it's going to be playing on MSNBC. And check it out. It might be something you might do with your family, maybe not today, but check it out. And Jim, what's your hot topic?
Well, we have Memorial Day. It's a federal holiday in the U.S. honoring the military personnel who have passed away in the performance of the service. And we have, like Reatha and I were talking about, events going on all over. And, you know, there's a lot of news here. I don't know if I can cover everything, but I'll try to touch on a few. One of the things that came up, people are talking about this, the things they see out there, military personnel, aircraft or whatever, some UFO. Well, everything's a UFO if you don't know what it is. But the story is, we can handle the truth. UFO expert says Americans deserve to know. Numerous U.S. Air Force fighter pilots have been interviewed and asked if they have ever seen UFOs. Their answer wasn't, well, once in several years I came across a bright light in the sky. Not quite. Pilots say it's an everyday occurrence. Some have been doing this for over 10 years, and when asked, they say, oh, this is stuff we see every day. So down in the, San Diego, a Navy ship took numerous pictures of this craft flying around, going into the ocean. So we'll see what happens. But what they want to do is have the government release the pictures. And maybe it's just advanced craft that they made we don't know about. Who knows? The fourth stimulus check, possibly, maybe in the works. Eligible Americans, both monthly stimulus checks and a one-time stimulus check for $2,000 have been proposed. So who knows? The president's $6 trillion fix-all is leading economists, some of the top economists, a little bit worried there, saying this kind of printing and could cause the economy to wind up with hyperinflation. Too much printing and taking care of things is good for a temporary fix-all, but later on it can catch up. Texas and other states looking to tighten up voting rules, trying to pass legislation on that. A man traveled across the country to mine diamonds for his girlfriend's engagement ring, and he wound up coming across a 2.2 carat. Now, who knows what the price on that would be? Well, Israel and Palestine, finally a ceasefire has fallen into place after thousands of rockets and bombs going off, so they're hoping they can make that last. Supreme Court agrees to hear a major abortion case challenging the Roe versus Wade situation. And Coinbase stock may be in a rut because crypto competition is heating up. Yeah, well, there's looking up in one of the top cities to live in, rolling hills, golf courses. You got tennis courts all over the place, 78 degrees year-round weather, no humidity, close to the ocean in between LA and San Diego. It was the town of Mission Viejo, picked because of its low crime rate and so on and so forth. This California area, people like the weather and so on, but it's costly. That's the thing, where you can move to other states and you can move into a house. And there's a lot of talk about, it's time to purchase a home. Well, the rates now are still super low. They've gone up a little bit, but they're still down into the low threes, which is going to give you a lower payment, easier to qualify. But the problem is finding a house, because the ones for sale, they have multiple offers on there. So do your research, get in there before the line starts. And with that, Reatha, the time's going so fast. We have to move into our commercial, and we have a very interesting guest coming on, Fred Smith. Wait till you hear his story. So let's move on. Commercial time.
Are you tired of doing business the hard way? Is building your business taking too much time and energy? We can help. Introducing your ultimate solution, EZWAY Business Membership. We're a full-service digital marketing solution specializing in branding and marketing, advertising, and introductions to CEOs and influencers that can help your business thrive. Problem solved. Now you can hire our award-winning team to work for your business. We've received many prestigious awards, including the Digital Trailblazer Award by Hollywood Weekly magazine, and we've been recognized by Congress. For just $11 a day, you'll get more exposure, reach more clients by next month, guaranteed. Here's how it works. You pay one low annual fee of $4,000, and you'll receive consulting, branding, marketing, advertising, social media support, product placement, and business introductions to help your business grow exponentially. And if you need more, we offer SEO, commercial, TV exposure, and much more for an additional rate. To recap, for just $11 a day annual membership fee, you'll receive branding, consulting, business-to-business introductions, advertising, and social media support. But don't take our word for it. Here's what our customers say.
We've been working with EZWAY, Eric, for the last 6 months, and literally we are slammed with work for 2 months straight, so his marketing definitely works.
To learn more, visit EZWayNetwork.com or contact us at 877-399-2929. And don't forget to follow us on social media. On Facebook at EZWay Network, Twitter at EZWay Broadcast, and YouTube at EZWay TV.
They're doing
Yes,
it
indeed.
the easy way.
Doing it the easy way. And we have a guest that basically goes way back with us, Fred Smith. He's a veteran, host of the Superpower podcast, marketing and scaling strategist extraordinaire, I'll add. While in the Marines, Fred was an award-winning combat reporter with a secret clearance. He gathered news from combat zones for TV, radio, newspapers, and magazines. He's worked with and mentored numerous high-end companies to enhance their revenue. And, oh, by the way, like I was talking about, and Reatha, you may remember back in the days, WTV and all that, Fred was there. And Fred, are you on with us?
Yeah, good morning. Can you hear me?
There he is. Fred, here's
Good
Reatha
morning,
Gray,
Fred.
Reatha. Fred, now you two know each other, I believe, yes, no?
Oh, yeah, we go back like car seats. Let's go to
Well, I'll
Reatha.
tell you, you do go back, Fred, and I got to ask you. So, Reatha and myself and you, how many events, right? How many events have we been to over the last how many years? Holy smokes.
Yeah, I would definitely say well over a couple hundred.
Now,
Absolutely.
Now, I remember there, a quick memory, can you pick one, right? Well, I mean, I remember a cool interview, and we kind of hung out with Dreyfus, and we had an interesting time at home with Peter Fonda. There's things like that, but I also remember swing dancing with Reatha on the stage. That was kind of fun. But Fred, is there anything that pops up with you? I mean, with all the camera work and all the events, any particular event that you go, oh yeah, I remember that one?
Well, I definitely remember the first one that me and Easy did. It was almost like the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, kind of like we bumped into each other. I wasn't the bully that was spinning them around. Like we kind of looked at each other and was like, hey, Easy was like, I need some help right now. I was like, cool. And that's really how history really got started with us. And we were running. And the cool thing about it was we were so seamless out there that a lot of people were trying to duplicate that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That was, 10, 15 years ago, Fred? Wow.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It's over 15 years ago. We're showing our age.
And by the way, the famous picture of us, which is, the Facebook picture of Eric and I and our little pup Hopper, was taken by Fred.
Yep.
Remember?
That's exactly
that?
right.
Now,
we're doing a magazine.
Now, be honest, Fred. They always say that people look like their dogs or their dogs look like them. I'm telling you. I looked at that picture and it was like, oh wait, that's the dog. There's three. They look like that should be their dog.
Now, part of the, we fought for our freedoms, so I'm going to invoke my Fifth Amendment right on that one.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't know if I'm calling the dog handsome or I'm calling them looking like dogs. Let's say the dog is handsome.
Yeah, it's funny because people say, oh, your dogs look just like you, because I have Bernie Doodles. So it's like, I was like, really? Like, tell me more about that.
You have what doodles?
Well, we,
Wait, I want to know what kind of doodles are those, Fred?
Oh, yeah. They're called Bernie Doodles. They're a cross between Bernese Mountain Dogs and Poodles. And they're really hard to breed. So we've been breeding them for close to a year now. And, we've had a pretty good success rate with them.
Those would be a big dog, though, right?
That's a big one.
That's actually a good question. Like, the Bernese Mountain Dogs themselves can get up to 200 pounds. But because we bring them back to the poodle, our puppers won't get any more than maybe 50, 55, maybe 60 pounds.
My dogs run around 8, 10, 12 pounds.
I can handle that.
Those are big dogs.
That's a snack.
Well, Fred invited us out to his house. We had a nice little barbecue or whatever you call it. Well, what a layout and what a beautiful home you have, Fred. That was it. So what was that for? I forgot. What was the event we had at your house there?
It was actually my birthday.
Oh, it was your birthday. Okay.
Yeah, we had the red carpet for the birthday.
Yeah, that was your 30th. Yeah, I remember. No.
You're so kind. So kind.
So Fred,
tell us what you're up to, Fred. What are you up to nowadays?
Well, Fred, I just want to let everybody know. Fred is very humble, and he's out there in the big corporate world, not just corporate world, but he's out there in the top rung, and just to get things rolling, Fred, you were a combat photographer, and do you think it was what you did in the military that kind of rolled you into what you were doing, and did it affect you going into the corporate world? Because you really did go to the top there with your mentoring and everything.
Oh, yeah, no, that's actually a brilliant question. 100%, because had I not got those skills out of the Marine Corps, I know for a fact I wouldn't have been able to do that. Because even people who had degrees just couldn't do what I did. So the secret sauce really lies in the fact of, like, when I was in the Marine Corps, not only going through those schools, but also having real-world experience, like literally being out there in the combat zone doing real-world operations. And to me, it's super scary, and that's one of the reasons why I'm thankful, and actually humbled that I can be here today on Memorial Day. I personally suffered from PTSD. I got a 70% rating just last year after like almost 20 plus years, right?
Wow.
But, the reality of it is, the pandemic just triggered me hard, Papa Zuley. It was really horrible for me on a lot of levels. But I don't know what's worse, like literally living the nightmare for 20 plus years, or I don't know. I don't want to be too graphic, but let's just say it really, a lot of the stuff that I learned in the military and actually the real world operations is what you and Eric and Reatha have seen when I was on the red carpet. It's just a totally different way of thinking.
Yeah. And then going a couple steps back, there's so many MOSs. I was military police, and I think Reatha was a Navy SEAL. So what was it that...
No, I only did USO. I entertained the troops. I didn't fight anybody.
I was like, wait for it.
But Fred, I do have a picture of Reatha in her combat gear sitting at a lunch table sleeping with her head down.
Paintball.
And it was a long...
It was paintball.
Yeah. All right. But it looks military. But so, like I said, taking a step back, what was it that, were you camera ready before you went in? Or what brought you into that part of it? Because that's a really interesting, because I was watching the thing during, a little deal on MacArthur and all that about the guys who were in World War II doing the camera stuff. What got you into that MOS?
Yeah, no, that's a good question too. So in the Marine Corps, we have to do it all. So like in the Navy, they have a combat photographer. And in the Marine Corps, we have what they call combat correspondent. I was a little bit different even than that designation because I had to do broadcasting and photojournalism. So, and also I had to do some other stuff like we had to tell the news. We had to know what to say, what not to say, a lot of intel stuff. So that's what made my designation a little bit more different. But I actually did door-to-door sales before I joined the Marine Corps, and I like photography. Wow. I just didn't realize that, I did that for 4 years. I didn't realize that was going to be one of the big pivots that I needed to take going into the Marine Corps. But once I did, I learned how to professionally do a lot of that stuff. So that was kind of more like the front-facing stuff, and that's the stuff that the public sees. The tougher stuff is really actually being able to still maneuver and still being able to accurately talk about what's going on versus saying, hey, nice, cool shot, bro, make me a sandwich, So it's one of those things where, to me, that was the key moment, was actually being able to learn all of those strategies and techniques on a professional level. And it showed up. My first duty station, I didn't even really use any of those skills. I was doing a lot of other operations, but part of the ethos of the Marine Corps is a force in readiness. So we had to be ready for everything. It just was more leaned at that point in time towards the photography. So hopefully I'm making sense.
It does. But, this has always been an interest to me. Getting the shot, right? You're in a combat zone, but there's two types of shots, right, Fred? I mean, You're out there with the camera. You want to get the shots, but you're also armed, right?
Nope, I was not, and that's what made my job super hard. Was because literally,
that's what I heard. That's pretty difficult, right? I mean, what do you do? You throw your camera at somebody if they're aiming at you?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you got to throw a roll of film at that point in time. But literally, it's exactly right. Just what you said. It's a little bit more savage. I had to be a little bit more covert as far as what I was doing.
Exactly.
And even to your point, I literally got stuck out there in the desert by myself for almost 2 weeks straight, and literally by myself. So I had to figure out certain things. And the biggest takeaway that I learned from that was I'm just thankful I had the mind and wherewithal to actually be able to survive. And if I had a weapon at that point in time, that you probably wouldn't even be talking to me right now. I mean, literally, that's how bad it was when I was going through. We had real world conflicts going on. So I had to, on one hand, do that part of my job while I'm doing other stuff. And it was just like, okay, what do I do next? So, but the big thing was, for me, it was just straight up survival, because like I said, we were really in some real world stuff going on. So it was tough.
So stealth, right? Stealth. You had to be, get the shots, but you had to be so cautious on where you pop your head up. I mean, because you're in both places.
Right. And that was the thing. I didn't know where I was going to be literally from one day to the next. It sounds, I'm kind of glossing over it right now, because literally I didn't start speaking about it until last year. But it was one of those things where a lot of people don't know that part about me. That's the other reasons why I'm just so quiet about a lot of stuff, because I didn't know what to say or even what to not say when I got out. It was just that intense for everything that I did. So I did my best to just translate the skills. How do I take them and actually do good with them? So when you met me, I was just like, you know what, at least let me do something with it. And that's why I started out in Hollywood actually as an accident. I was doing camera work down in San Diego for a calendar shoot. And next thing you know, I'm shooting at the Playboy Mansion. That's what happened.
Yeah. We had to sign papers too. People ask, what did you do here and there? And we had to say, you say where you're at, period. You could say it was at a certain location, but you can't say what you did, and so on and so forth. And you have to sign a lot of papers.
Even in the U.S., even in the USO, they made us sign papers. We were entertaining the troops places where there weren't supposed to be troops, and we had to sign papers saying we weren't there either. So
exactly.
I know that was part of my problem, and that was one of the reasons why even last year, like this year, I was supposed to be doing my interview for my PTSD stuff, but I guess they looked at my service record book and was like, oh man, he didn't sign. He's like, yeah, like I've been out here. I need to know what I can say and what I can't say. Like, can you guys tell me? So to your point, it was definitely, it was one of those things where it's actually affected my life on a lot of different levels. And I'm just super grateful that I still had the wherewithal to make at least halfway decent decisions to have somewhat of a good quality of life.
Oh yeah, and then Reatha asked, so we move on here. What's going on with Fred now? You got Superpowered Podcast, and you got so much going on. We'll talk about that a little bit.
Well, yeah, about that.
You're rocking and rolling, Fred. I'll tell you.
Yeah, I you know what? I really hit a crescendo in my life, and I'm actually just really more focused in now more than ever, just being home, spending time with the family, spending time with my puppers, and I just the Superpower podcast came across as a result of me watching all of these brilliant people not being able to really explain how they got there. So what I wanted to do was create an environment so that it can inspire other people to really see that success is predictable if you have certain key elements. So I've identified about 40 of them. There could be more. And to me, 40 is still a lot. I just focus in on the core, the core essence of someone and how they got there. So I like, and that's part of my photojournalistic skills coming out, because I enjoy that. I love to hear a good story, but more importantly, I like to hear how people really says they had a crescendo in their life where they're like, you know what? I can't take this anymore. I need to be a different person, and they make that transition. So I want to focus in on that, and that'll be part of my legacy play.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, but I'm also in the cannabis industry too, since you're asking. So that got me there as a result of my PTSD, and I started literally medicating myself last year, and all of a sudden I had this creative explosion and also a spiritual explosion. So that's what led to that.
Is that a
so? Is that what a Canipreneur is?
Yes,
I was
ma'am.
wondering what a Canipreneur was.
Now
yes,
you know.
ma'am. Now you know.
Now, am I right
know.
on the figure? Is it $350 billion a year in that business? Wow.
Oh yeah, it's still small comparatively speaking. Me and my partner Rico just focus in on the startups to mid-cap businesses because it sounds sexy that there's that much money in there, but the reality of it is corporate cannabis has already taken over, and that's the reasons why we have ETFs, exchange traded funds, on Wall Street. It started this year. We called that last year. So it's one of those things where you don't have to be a stoner or you're scared to smoke a doobie. Really, what it really boils down to is it has healing properties to it, and that's actually what's been helping me cope through a lot of stuff even to this day. So.
Wow.
There's a duality behind it, because even when I was going through some of my military stuff, here, take this medicine, take this, take that. And then I'm like, no, I don't want to take any drugs, but that's just my own personal bias. And since I've been doing it, I'm a lot better.
You're moving along, and you've been through so much corporate stuff. There's a million questions I have lined up about, what do you think's going on today after a year off of everybody, how it's affected the corporate business, because it's really affected small business. There's some statistics like 45% of them are gone and so on and so forth. But we have to you on another time because I know it's going to be a discussion. So you've seen you've been around for WTV. You've been around on the carpets with us. How do you think of the evolution of what Eric's created to where it's at today? I imagine you've seen some of the EZWAY network and how it's grown.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I can take 10 seconds to explain what you were just talking about before. As far as the corporate world, I tell people don't worry about that, at least as far as small to mid-cap businesses, because they market a completely different way. Coming out of the pandemic, people are looking for a lot more high-tech, high-touch, and I've been saying that for the last 20 years. So now it's here, so people want to connect with the people behind the brand, not just the brand. And that dovetails perfectly into what Easy has created and you have created, was because I remember the conversation that we had at your house. It was about over 15 years ago, literally, when he was making a pivot from what you need over to the EZWAY right now. One of the first things that we talked about, I was like, bro, we need to go into these nonprofits. And he's like, what do you mean nonprofits? I was like, well, people need to know. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So I don't know if you remember that part where we started, I think back in 2006 or 2007, we really started hitting a lot of the nonprofits really hard. And nobody else was doing that at that point in time because Easy always had good intentions behind it. It wasn't like, hey, let me shake you down and ask you for money. It was like, hey, it was like, hey, you're awesome. You're an awesome, cool person. So and that's how those relationships, in my humble opinion, started forming. But it was just like, and every time, we're still close friends. We talked yesterday. And the thing about it is, he's always leaned on me for those major pivots, but in exchange for that, it's just like, hey, bro, just keep shining your light. Keep that gold carpet moving. Keep everybody inspired. Now he's to the point where a lot of people are actually edifying him, which is phenomenal to me, because you hear me doing it, but it's true.
Well, he's always had, how can I help? And it's not, majority of the times, it's not that there's any check involved, but he gets such a kick out of seeing something happen. And, a lot of veterans groups, which I think you're involved in a couple.
Actually, need to get in a few more of them, so we definitely need to have another conversation after this.
I was going to say. Exactly.
I was going to say, we've run out of time. You've got so much to say, and there's so much to talk about.
Yeah, we got Carmelita's Corner coming up and everything, but I don't want to let Fred go because there's so many things we can cover. Fred, we're talking about a lot of years here.
Yeah.
So
15
anyway,
years compressed. It's awesome. Much love.
Yeah, thank you, Fred, for coming on. Know you're a busy guy. Say hi to the fam, and we'll have you back.
Yes, thank you kindly, and keep doing your great work. It's amazing.
Thank you, Fred.
Always good to have you on the show, Fred.
Yes.
I think we got a commercial, and then Carmelita's Corner coming up, Reatha.
Absolutely.
Only on Blog Talk Radio will you hear the celebrity host of EZWAY Broadcasting. Network owner Eric Zuley treats his 500,000 Twitter followers to insider tips and connections on upcoming shows.
Are you looking to accelerate your influence? EZWayWall.com is a new site that allows you to promote yourself, business, brand, and your products as an influencer. You can share your ideas, receive comments, promote and brand yourself with the power of affiliation. Associate yourself and your brand with the power players of today to become leaders of tomorrow. Come and join the EZWay Wall today. Sign up at wall.ezawaybroadcasting.com or text EZWay Wall to 55678. Introducing EZWay Family App, your new virtual vision 2020. Be seen, be available, be everywhere. Available on Apple Store and Google Play. Track our content, stay connected, create your account to gain instant access. Go mobile or go home.
About to experience Carmelita's Corner. Carmelita's song Rosebud made it to the top 40s with the godfather of soul, James Brown. She's the founder of the Rose Breast Cancer Society. Now here's your host, Carmelita Pittman. We apologize due to Memorial Day. Carmelita Pittman's program will not be on, so we will be bringing back Reatha Gray and James Zuley to talk a little bit about how our veterans have served and thank our people that have fought for our country. So bringing back to the show is James Zuley and Reatha Gray.
Hey, Reatha.
Well, we're just going to flow this morning, aren't we?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And, Fred was talking about, he went in a certain part of the service, some people, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine, National Guard, and how it affects your life in a way. I mean, what your MOS is, because, Reatha, the way it goes, I know you weren't in the military, but if you go in and you wind up with an MOS, that's military occupational service, and you become say a tanker, well, that means you learn all about tanks, how to drive them, how to shoot them. There's just Elvis Presley, when he went in the Army, he was a tanker. And what it is, you really master it. But here's the issue. When you get out and you fill out the job applications, there's just not a whole lot tankers needed. So you know what I mean? That's something you have to think about.
Well, a lot of people weren't told that they should go in preparing to come out. So
exactly.
They'll go in and they'll be a great soldier. But like you said, there's not a lot of jobs where you crawl under barbed wire fences. So they're real good at doing that. But they just can't get a job at it.
Maybe in your field, because being an actor, you don't know what you're going to have, right? I mean, you could wind up in any situation.
Doing anything, anytime. It's absolutely true.
Yeah.
But even
you know,
in the USO, like I said, we went into places. I was there when they ended the Vietnam War, and we didn't know they were going to be ending the Vietnam War. It was during the time where when Amelga Marcos was stabbed. I was in the Philippines during that time entertaining the troops. And I didn't realize how secret a lot of things were, because we did have to sign papers saying that we did not go places because there weren't supposed to be American troops where we were. And I've probably broken that rule and told people that I was places I shouldn't have been. But just entertaining the troops, you could feel how grateful they were to see any live American entertainment. And I wasn't there with a big Bob Hope show. I was there with a college tour, because most of the kids out in the field were college age. And they were just so grateful to see Americans that weren't involved in the war and to talk about what was happening back in the United States. So it is a whole different world. And my grandson was in the Army, and he loved it. And he didn't do combat, and I'm grateful for that. But he picked something that he would be able to translate into a job when he got out. He did supply. And so, you know, the Radar O'Reilly job on MASH. And right now they're calling it logistics, and that's a big deal. It's Amazon and all these places that are shipping stuff out. So it's something he could translate out into a job when he got in or when he got out.
Well, you know, like some people, well, for me it was military police, so there's the security issue there. And then you have the drivers and logistics, and there's so many fields. But a lot of the guys get out and they were gunners or something, or maybe snipers or infantry people, whatever. And then they have to find a different profession. But
sorry to interrupt, Reatha, James. Carmelita Pittman is in queue now, and she has said that she is going to be doing her segment. So we're going to go ahead and bring her into the show. Welcome to Radio Boomers Live, the Carmelita's Corner segment. Carmelita, go ahead.
All right. Okay. Wow. I don't know what happened to the time, but anyway, here we are on Memorial Day. Happy Memorial Day to everyone. And I have a very special guest for you. She has been a guest before, and she's very much a big part of my life. And her name is Dr. CHERILYN Lee. Good morning, Dr. Lee.
Good morning, and it's a blessing and an honor to be here.
All right. Well, we were just chit-chatting earlier this morning, and before I knew it, the time had just gone. It's just like I don't know what happens to the time. But that's an old song that sounds familiar to many of us. Am I correct?
Correct. You're absolutely correct.
Yeah. Well, you have so much going on, and you have such a rich background. Many people know you or know of you, and you've just done so many wonderful things in the community with your vast knowledge of medicine and healthcare. And you always have something new to share with us. One of the last things that I recall you talking about was how you can send a sample of hair off to a lab in Germany, and it can come back with all kinds of information. Can you give us a little bit of information about that?
Well, let me just say, we don't send the hair off. You have to be in the clinic in person to do this particular test, and it's actually a mapping. It's a DNA mapping, and it's absolutely wonderful. So to really find out what's going on in your body based on, and there's so many levels of screening to see what's going on in the system, so you can see it yourself. So after, a couple of strands of hair goes onto this little dish, it actually then generates and goes to Germany, And I can find out about your immune response, your gut support, your cardiovascular performance, and any electrical devices that you're around. So I can pick up on all of these wonderful things so we can start turning them around. Frequency, minerals, vitamins, even your diet. Your diet is laid out for you based on your own DNA and what's going on with you at a cellular level, and which antioxidants you may need in your body. Not everybody needs the same thing. So it picks up a lot of information and assessment in just a couple of minutes. You have a report in your hands or emailed to you in less than 30 minutes. Amazing.
That is amazing. And it's something that I'm going to want to have you do for Jerry and me as well. And many of my other friends, I'm sure, will be interested in it. Yeah. And, yes, when you have so many.
No. Can I just add, I'm so sorry. And what's important right now because of our environmental challenge that we're having right now, too. So this picks up on the toxins and things in the environment, indoor and outdoor. Can you imagine if you're going to find all of this out just from a couple strands of hair?
That is really amazing because we're bombarded with toxins, like you said, both indoors and outdoors. In fact, I've heard that the quality of air indoors is more dangerous than it is outdoors. So,
there certainly is. Yes, it is.
Yeah. And, you know, I just want to say before we go, because the time, as I said, goes so fast, that I want to appreciate you being a part of my organization all of these years. And likewise, you have always drawn me into what you're doing with New Wellness. And you've been an honorary member of the Rose Breast Cancer Society for many, many years. And when we've had our major events, you've always brought on amazing healthcare experts, and that is one of the reasons why I coined the word edutainment, because we've always combined that with the performing arts and the visual arts, and have always had our events at beautiful, inspirational locations. And so I just want to thank you. And then, of course, I want to salute you as having been Mother of the Year as well as our Angel of the Year.
Thank you so much, and it's such an honor. You know, it's been a journey, and I've been a practitioner for over 35 years. So this is truly, truly an honor. I thank you so much, and you're such an amazing person yourself, Carmelita. I'm just thankful to God that we know each other, and, you know, we're able to help others, and you have referred people that we both worked with based on your organization a long time ago. And I'm just thankful that we're able to reach out and help others. That's what it's all about.
Yes, it is about reaching out and helping one another. You know, I remember that I've heard this story, and you probably have heard it too, that, you know, it's sort of like a allegory where a person was being given a tour of heaven and hell. And the angel was showing the person heaven, and everybody was sitting at a long table with long spoons. And in the middle of the table was a big pot of food. And the only way they could feed themselves was to take the long spoons and feed each other. And that was the difference. The same setup was in hell, except nobody was helping each other. They couldn't get to the food because they weren't thinking about serving the other people. So what it's all about is serving one another. And in the end, the very end, when it's our time, what we want to hear is, "Well done, my servant."
Yes, indeed. Yes, that's why I continue to do what I do. And have been for years within the clinic and the nonprofit, especially the nonprofit, because I'm through the community all the time doing cardiovascular screening and the carotid artery screening, because we know that more women are dying from cardiovascular diseases than they are from breast cancer. And then my next umbrella under there is breast cancer. So I've added a new educational component to my nonprofit, and that's knowing about your kidneys. What you need to know about your kidneys is very important because there's too many people going on dialysis. Mm-hmm. So when I say your kidneys, mainly it's a couple of blood tests you want to keep up with, especially if you're a hypertensive patient or a diabetic or you're on a lot of medications that have to be metabolized to the liver or the kidney. There's certain lab tests you need to know. But basically, really watch the kidneys. It's just too many people on dialysis, and they're becoming younger and younger as well.
And you mentioned that there were 3 different lab tests that people should know about, right?
Well, we should know a complete panel. But right now, in lieu of what's happening in the world today, everybody should know the inflammation markers. You know, your inflammation markers. You want to know if you have inflammation because that's tied into just about everything going on with you on every level. So you want to know your C-reactive protein level. You want to know your fibrinogen blood test. You want to know your homeocysteine blood test, and that's 3. But it's one more. You want to know your serum insulin level because people sometimes think, I'm not a diabetic. I don't have these things going on. But when that serum insulin level is elevated, the body is very toxic. There's other things that's happening in the body that you really want to go deeper and find out what's going on. But I always suggest that a person really go and obtain the female panel, comprehensive female panel, or a comprehensive male panel. And then what people do is send me their reports, and then I break it down in a cellular level, and I send them back to them. Or they come in, we do a special consultation, because then you'll know what vitamins, if your body is too acid or alkaline, if you have bone problems, you can pick up all these things. And the other one people have to know, is your vitamin D3 hydroxy, your vitamin D25 hydroxy. And now you want to know the 25, but you want to know the 125. So you know what's going on intercellular, extracellular with your vitamin D. So a lot of people are just looking at one aspect, but sometimes we need to look at them both. But those levels should be in a certain range. We find that people don't have cancer, heart attack, when you keep those levels in a normal range. So knowing your body, you say, I feel great, let's just see where you are. Let's see where you are. So optimally, we can keep you there.
Well, you know what, Dr. Lee, you have so much vital information, life-saving information to give everyone, but I'm looking at the clock, and I'm sorry that the time got away from us, even though we had our own session this morning, actually.
Yes.
We should have been on a little sooner, and I didn't realize that the time had already lapsed. So I'm going to have to apologize to you, but I want to thank you for having been a guest before and also agreeing to come back again, and let's not let this be the last time. So I want to thank you for being a wonderful, wonderful guest and my dear loving friend. You're one of my favorite people in the whole wide world.
And the same to me. You touch my heart all the time. And you and your husband are both a blessing to so many people. God bless you, Carmelita. Thank you again for having me.
God bless you too, Dr. Lee. And God bless everybody out there in Radio Land.
Yes. Have a blessed day today, too, as well. Stay safe.
Smartphone, cell phone, PC, Mac, tablet, iPad. That's right. It's tech time.
Well, I had some TV issues this week, and I was talking to the TV repair for the brand that I have. And about 3/4 of the way through the conversation, the guy said, "You really know about your TV, don't you?" And I thought about it, and it's like, yeah, I kind of do. Because it's a tech thing, and I'm a techie. So I thought I'd talk about a few things you need to know about your television. I realize a lot of people don't know. Now, us baby boomers go back to the days where TVs had tubes. And literally, if you were handy, you could go to the store and buy the tube and replace it yourself. Now, they told you, do not remove the back of this set, but you could. And you could remove it and then just unplug it first, and you'd unplug the tube and put a new tube in. Well, you can't do that anymore. You cannot remove the back of the set. But there are things that you can check before you call the repair people or have somebody come out and charge you some real expensive amount of money for something that you really could have fixed yourself. So first thing I want to advise you to do is to take a picture of those numbers in the back of your TV before you mount it on the wall or even put it on a stand. Take a picture. It's a little plate probably somewhere on the back of your TV. It'll have your model number, your serial number, and maybe some other numbers. Take a picture of it, print out that picture, and put it with the warranty papers and everything. So if you do need to call in, you'll have all the information, and you don't have to crawl around the back of your TV. So some common things that will go wrong with your TV that you can fix at home, are when your TV turns on, but there's no picture. Now, usually the reason for that is you've actually touched the input button and you've changed it from wherever your signal does come from to an input that has nothing on it. Now, the inputs are back in the back. You don't want to go back and check. All you have to do is push the input button on your remote control. It'll say input or source or maybe TV video. And by pushing the button, it'll cycle through the inputs until you have your picture back. Now, if you're on the correct input and still don't have a picture, make sure that your cable or your satellite receiver is turned on. Sometimes it gets turned off, push the wrong button, it gets turned off. The input's still on, but there's actually no signal coming from your cable box. So make sure that that's on. And if that still doesn't resolve the issue, try switching to another device and see if you get a picture there. Then there is likely an issue that your signal or the box itself, and you'll need to contact the provider, either of your satellite or your cable, and make sure that their service is on. And sometimes you just need to reset. You might need to reset your cable or your satellite box, and you do that simply by unplugging it from the wall and then waiting maybe 30 seconds. Depends on the box, but 30 seconds is usually enough. Plug it back in, and it'll start cycling through, and it will start up again. Or you may need to do it with the TV itself. Just unplug it for about 30 seconds, plug it back in, it'll recycle, and usually that will start it. The other common problem is video not matching the audio. You know, it's like you're watching a foreign film, but the lips are moving, but the sound isn't matching, except it's not supposed to be a foreign film. Well, you'll have to go into the audio settings on your TV or your cable box and adjust the audio delay, and that should get you back in sync. So you go to settings, you go to audio, and then you look for audio delay, and that should put you back in sync. There are other things that are kind of common problems that you can kind of do. A lot of them can be solved just by unplugging it, and plugging it back in and resetting it. Because we're running short on time and because I know you want to get out there to that barbecue, I'm going to talk more about this next week, what you need to do to reset your TV. Because most of us, the TVs are so inexpensive now, most of us just throw them out and go buy a new one when it's really something minor. So that's my tech time for today. Jim, what's your Jim today?
Okay, baby boomers, it's time for Jim from Jim.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And guys, remember tomorrow, 4 to 5 p.m., Easy Talk Live. We've got guest Laura Langmeyer coming on, and talking about a list of guests. Easy Talk Live is taken off. And remember the Wall of Fame, 500 quality members. We've got 300,000 visitors per month. super benefits and interaction. So, guys, I'm going to touch base on some people were talking about retiring, or should they wait a little bit, or, well, I have so much in the bank, I'm 65. Well, I'm going to give you 10 signs that you're not ready to retire. I found it in consumercredit.com. Interesting article. And I'll just go over some of this with you. If any sound familiar, may rethink your plans because, you know, we think I've worked 30 years, I've worked 35 years, whatever it is, it's time to retire. But there's a lot of things you don't take into consideration when you're planning this. Have you planned on the extra expenses, deductibles for insurance, and so on and so forth, expenses on your home, expenses that your children or grandchildren may have? Well, that's not taken into consideration. 10 signs that you're not ready to retire. I'll just go over them real quick here. You haven't outlined a financial plan. A successful retirement requires a well-thought-out plan, but through retirement planning is something many people haven't done. And that's why they talk about financial professionals. You have to talk to a professional. You're struggling now. Well, in one survey, almost a quarter of boomers admitted they had difficulty paying their rent or mortgage within the past 12 months. A quarter? Wow. But all too often, people who are already struggling are determined to retire. So that's a big red flag. I'll give you this again. I told you this before. Some of the experts say a lot of people made about $45,000 a year, and they're supposed to retire with 11 times that amount, which is say $1 million. And the average retirement for a lot of people, they only have about there's a percentage. A certain percentage has 100,000 in the bank, and the percentages go down. Some have 50, but many people only have 25 or 30,000, and there's a lot that only have 1,000. Well, they're not going to be retiring. But if you have 25 or 30,000 in the bank, it's not quite time to retire. So, like I said, in one survey, a quarter of the boomers admitted they had difficulty paying their rent. Well, not time to retire, because if you're having problems with the money you have coming in, and then that stops, it's going to be going down. Okay, number 3, you still have a lot of debt. Many people don't know how much they owe. All they know is their bills are at comfortable level, and they assume they can continue to pay them even once they stop working. But you need to take some time to thoroughly look at and understand how much money you owe overall so you can become debt-free in retirement. One of the plans I had was really focus. Focus is an important word. Focus on those credit cards. And then it starts getting fun. You start saying, hey, that card with a $5,000 balance is down to 3. You keep hitting it, and you just stop the spending. You don't have to spend. What are you going to buy more stuff to put in your house? I don't know about you, but it piles up fast. So you want to get the savings up, the debt gone, and then put extra money in your bills. And some people say, well, you don't get interest. Who cares? At least it's paid. Pay extra money on the gas, electric, phone, all these monthly bills. So if something comes up, you turn around, and before you know it, you're a year or two ahead on those bills. And then you have a little cushion. Number 4, you need to work but haven't found a part-time job. According to the Federal Reserve, about 12% of people plan to retire and then find a different part-time job, while roughly 3% plan to find a full-time job after retiring. But if you haven't lined up another job, you might want to stick with your current employer a little bit longer. Don't assume because of your years of experience and stellar performance, companies will jump at the opportunity to bring you on board. Okay, you haven't reassessed your portfolio. Your portfolio will become a critical part of your financial well-being when you're retired, and reassessing it is an important part of retirement planning. Well, that's the thing to do. You sit down with somebody and get the real stats, because you're kind of in shape at 65 or 70, 75. And eventually, no matter what kind of vitamins you take or exercise you do, you're not going to be in real good shape because you might make it to be 100. But, you know, if you get to be 95, 100, after 100, you could start slowing down. You get to be 110, you'll be breaking records, and you're not going to be working out much. But who knows? I mean, times are changing. Number 6 is you haven't decided what you'll do with your time. Now, a friend of mine is a doctor, and he was a doctor out here for a long time, and he told me he's going to be retiring. I said, well, I don't think so. And he looked at me funny. I said, what are you going to do? And he goes, I knew he wasn't a golfer. And sure enough, he retired, and sure enough, he was back in his practice about a year later. He said, well, you were right. So he knows you can't sit around. You got to keep busy. You got to have something going on. If your only friends are people you work with, or all your friends are still working elsewhere, you need to decide what you're going to do with your time, see? So maybe hobbies or whatever, but, you know, that kind of stuff costs money too. Number 7, work is still important to you. If you're currently aiming for promotions and raises, you shouldn't rush into retirement. Stay in your field as long as you feel motivated and driven to achieve. Retiring before you reach your professional goals can result in regret. Besides, pay hikes and other earnings can also be a good way to go. You got to watch that because one thing will lead you to another, and before you know it, like people talk about retiring at, 65, and some want to wait to get that extra money. But then again, you got to think, well, you do want to eventually retire and relax a little bit and go out and golf and have some fun. You wait too long, and that might not work out too well for you. I told you the story about my parents knew a couple, and they saved a lot of money. They had several $1 million, and they moved to Florida, and he had a stroke. And she said they didn't have time to go anywhere. Didn't even make their first retirement vacation. Number 8 is you haven't thought about your retirement identity. Right now you might be in a business, or you might be a business owner, or you might have a lot of authority at your current job, but who will you be when you retire? All right? Is that going to be disappointing for you? Maybe you want to stick with it. Number 9 is you're caring for children or elderly people. Well, that can be a big expense. And number 10, you're not on the same page with your spouse. Well, you got to talk to each other and see if you're ready to take that step. But I have to admit it is nice, although I'm keeping very busy, when you get up and you don't have to go punch a clock or something like that. But, there's a lot of home businesses for retirees, a lot of volunteering you can do. But with that, Reatha, I think it's time to move along, and we got to start wrapping up Radio Boomers Live.
I think so.
And Dr. Lee, talk about a treasure trove of information, Carmelita's guest. Wow, And
I love Dr. Lee. She's a wonderful woman and a wonderful physician.
Oh boy, yeah, she knows what's going on. But it goes so fast, doesn't it, Reatha? I mean, the week goes fast, the month goes fast, and we're looking at June now. Well, June is a step before July and August, summertime. I don't know.
June is actually my birthday month, so in 2 more days, I will be another year younger.
Hey, all right.
I'm going backwards nowadays.
So you're going to be 60. Wait, you're going to be 64. Wow,
no.
I can't. Well, I thought you were going backwards because you've been telling me this for years.
I'm 3 months older than you, Jim, and we will both be 72 this year. Do you know that I spent half of the year thinking I was 70? And I told someone I was 70, and they said, no, you're not. I said, of course I am. I said, no, you're 71. Do the math. So.
And we are that age, and people, they take for granted that we're that age. But I'm telling you, it doesn't sink in, does it, Reatha? Like, how did we get to be in the 70s? Isn't that an old person? But when you get there. I tell people I'm old, and they say, oh, stop saying that. You're only as old as you feel.
I feel old. I don't feel like a 21-year-old. I mean, I feel good for my age maybe, and I'm doing well, but in the real world, I'm no spring chicken anymore. People say, why do you tell people your age? I said, well, I don't just tell people, but at this point, I am grateful. Do you know how many friends we've lost along the way? I'm grateful to still be here, to be able to see my grandchildren who are 27 and 36. I was going to say, he just told me. And I forgot how old the poor child is. I think they're 27 and 30. I don't know. But anyway, they're grown up. I've got to see my grandchildren grow up. And, you know, so I'm grateful.
Forgetting is part of it, you know, what can you do? But, you know, I think mentally you are young, but sometimes the way we feel physically, we're going like, what is this all about, you know? You're not bouncing around the way you used to, but I'm not giving up. Do you still have a little bucket list somewhere?
My bucket list is basically involving travel, and I don't know that I'm going to make those bucket lists because traveling is not the fun it used to be. First of all, American and I think United have banned drinking on flights until September. And I'm not a big drinker, but a little cocktail on a flight doesn't hurt. It calms you down.
Nothing wrong with that.
There's so much walking involved. LAX is a nightmare. Yes, I said it out loud. The parking is horrible. If you take a ride share, it's horrible to get there. LAX is just, I used to say it was just a bad airport because it didn't have the shops and the things you could do if you were stuck in between planes. But now it's really just a nightmare to get in and out of there.
Reatha, you have to be ready, though, because, you know, you were Betty White's co-star and Off the Rockers and who knows what kind of stuff. You never know what role might come up that you might be picked for, that you might have to do a certain physical situation, whether it's drama, comedy, whatever. So isn't that true? You kind of have to think about that, right?
You know, I was one of those actors that came up during the time of The Show Must Go On. So literally, and don't tell anyone that I told you this, literally, I did a commercial and I was having a heart attack and I knew I was having a heart attack. And I kind of bargained with God and said, if you let me live through this, I promise you, I will go straight to the hospital. The moment I wrap, I won't go home. I won't pack a bag. I will go straight to the hospital. Just let me get through this. And thank God it wasn't a very physical commercial, but I still had to get my stuff in my car, me in my car, and me to the hospital. And sure enough, I had been having a heart attack during the day.
Wow.
So, you know, we just, you know, the show must go on. I've done
must go on. I remember talking to you about
stage
that.
play with 104-degree temperature, and you just do it.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. And locations can be tricky.
I just wanted to say also, our condolences out to Gavin McLeod's family. He was the captain on the Love Boat. He was on the Mary Tyler Moore show. Good friend of Betty White, and Ed Asner tweeted out yesterday, Betty, it's just me and you left. So we've got two of the treasures of the Mary Tyler Moore show still alive, and Betty's coming up on her 100th birthday in about 7-8 months now.
Yeah. But, you know, Reatha, it's important that, you know, we keep something like dangling the carrot, you know, analogy, something that keeps us going. Like I have a friend of mine that's he's 96, and he's got the Better Visions for Children. He's a World War II veteran, and he keeps busy with that. If you have something that you have set as a goal or aspire to achieve still, it'll keep you going in a way. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm still working, and it's keeping me going. I'm theoretically already scheduled to do another commercial this week, and I'm grateful for that I'm still able to work. Like I said, I'm not going to be doing my own stunts probably anymore, but you never know.
You never know. I have a couple things, like someday I want to learn to do a giant, and I think I could do that. You know what that is,
to
right?
Do what?
No. A giant. That's the high bar. You know, at the gym, you got that bar that you jump up on the Olympics. You jump up. It's not the parallel bars. It's the one high bar.
The high bar, really? And you're going to be doing loop-to-loops on that, right?
No, not loop-to-loops.
No.
You grab it, and then you do an inverted hang, and then you go back and you swing back and forth.
That's a loop-to-loop as far as I'm concerned.
Go all the way around. Go all the way. And if I can do it, Reese, you can do it.
No, when I was young, I aspired to be a gymnast, and my fear of breaking bones and falling was greater than my desire to do any of that. So you have to have a parachute on me for me to do anything that's high, even high dives. I was a swimmer, but when it came to doing the high dive, no, people should break their backs. Yeah, I'm not doing that. But
anyway,
if I
guess
got a parachute on, I'm good. I'll do any of it.
Well, yeah, you have those challenges, but we have to aspire to do something, and we have to stay in shape. So that's what it's all about. That's why I keep saying, keep moving, keep the faith, and have those goals. And you don't have to turn 65 or 70 and shuffle around. I think that's what people think. You can be in good shape, but you got to work at it. You got to have that diet, and that's really something you got to work on. But guys, we're running out of time. The EZWAY Wall of Fame is rocking and rolling, and we have Radio Boomers Live will be coming up next week. Before you know it, at Monday, 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock. Reatha and I'll be back. What do you got planned for the week, Reatha? You got anything big planned?
Like I said, I'm shooting a commercial. I can't ever talk about what I'm shooting until after it's airing.
Afterwards.
But I plan to shoot a commercial, and today I'm just kicking back. I've learned my family's small now, so I just kick back. I don't have to cook anything. I'm going to heat up some stuff that I've already prepared and just kick back, watch some TV today, and have a wonderful Memorial Day, just watching some of the ceremonies on the TV and being grateful for those who have given their lives for our country.
Yes, indeed. And we want to thank everybody for tuning in. We want to thank Dr. Lee and Fred Smith for coming on the show today. Two great, inspiring guests. And till Monday morning, guys, Reatha and I are going to be signing out. So keep moving, keep the faith, and we'll see you then.
Thank you for listening to Radio Boomers Live with your hosts, Reatha Grey, Star Betty White's Off Their Rockers, and EZ's dad, Jim Zuley. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter at Radio Boomers Live. Radio Boomers Live is brought to you by the EZWAY Broadcasting Network. That's the letter E, the letter Z, Broadcasting Network.